Hello and welcome to Manika IAS. So we are starting a fresh series of subject Indian Polity, and in the very first lecture we'll discuss the basic introduction to Indian Polity. Before we proceed any further, you need to understand the meaning of term polity. What does the term polity implies in its own sense? So in the very basic meaning of the term polity means the organization of a particular society. How a particular society is organized, what is the governance structure, what are the organizations which are there, and the kind of hierarchy which is there is the meaning of the term polity. So in very simple term, it is organization of any society, specifically in reference to its governance, how it is governed, right? Now, if we take an example in a miniature that of a school. So in school we have a head of the school which is principal. Then we have teachers who are taking care of individual and very different subjects, right? And then we have students who are the recipients. And why there are schools? Because of the students. If there are no students, there are no schools, there are no principal, and there is no teachers also, right? So they are the source of power of the organization, from where you have principals and teachers, right? Now draw the same parallel with respect to a particular country. Now in India, if we see the head of state, we have president, right? And then we have prime minister as head of government, and then you have various ministers who are having different portfolios, and they are taking caring of different ministries, right? And then you have civilians. The source of power is civilians, and they are the people over whom they are governing, right? So you have the same structure as of a head of a state, then you have ministers, and then you have civilians. This is the basic organization. Now when we come to specifically India, then we have a different kind of organization structure, that we have multiple pillars of governance, not just one. So if we speak, we have three pillars of Indian governance. These are the pillars of Indian government structure, or you can say Indian polity, right? One is your judiciary, then you have legislature, and then you have executive. These three are the basic premise of Indian polity, right? Now let us understand the various function of these three organs and these three pillars, and who are they. So if you talk about legislature, who are legislature? They frame the laws, any policy. They are responsible for framing the laws and policy according to which the India is going to be governed, right? And who include legislature? That is your parliament and your state legislative assemblies, right? So these are, and in some states which have council as well. So you have parliament and state legislative legislatures. So these are the legislatures, right? Their role, primary role, is to frame laws and policies. And then coming to executive, what is the role of executive? They execute the policies which are framed by the legislature, right? They frame the laws and they execute those laws, right? So, and because they are executive, they are also known as administrative head of the Indian polity. Now, who are they? Who do we refer to as executive when we are talking about the term executive? Who are included in the term, right? So there are two types of executive. One are your temporary, and other are your permanent. We'll discuss about them in detail when we'll be discussing the executive as a whole or a different chapter. But as of now, temporary they are called because their term is not fixed. It is renewed, right? They don't have a fixed position, right? So you have president, prime minister, chief minister, ministers, and governor. These all includes as the executive to what we are referring here. Here when we are talking about judiciary, legislature, and executive, we are referring to these positions, right? So all these includes your executive. And when you talk about judiciary, see, they frame the laws, they execute the laws and policies. And what does judiciary do? Judiciary ensures that they people are working in sync with the Constitution of India, in sync within the boundaries of the laws which has to be there, and they are in a legal manner, and they also administer justice, right, to people. What does judiciary include? Supreme Court, High Court, District Court, Subordinate Court, entire hierarchy of all the judicial bodies includes the judiciary. So what we have seen here is that each organ has a different set of power. So there is a separation of power. Separation of power. They have different role to play, but at the same time, judiciary is ensuring that these two organs are working fine. They are framing laws and they are ensuring that they are executing those policies. At the same time, legislature is also framing laws with respect to judiciary, and they are keeping a check on the activities of judiciary at the same time. So this is known as balance of power, that none of the organ have an overarching powers, and they cannot go beyond the wall set by the constitutional makers, right? So we do have a separation of power between the organs. At the same time, we also have a balance of power between the organs. Now we are here referring to Constitution. What does Constitution means? Constitution is the source of this organization, is the source of this structure, right? It is ensuring to ensure right of people, that there is separation of power, at the same time balance of power, right? And we will discuss about the Constitution in the next lecture. You please read about what we have discussed today, and if you have any questions, any doubt, you may please ask in the comment section. Thank you. Have a nice day.